My name's LazyBed, and I've been a fight fan for over 30 years. As an accidental industry insider, I've become a staple in the chat rooms of some of your favorite podcasts.
I'm DangerMouse, an Englishman by blood, a Yorkshireman by the grace of God, a dedicated, devoted, and often sleep-deprived casual fan who once upon a time did earn a black belt in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu.
And my name is Austin, aka No Special, a former wrestler with a knack for all things grappling, who's not afraid of a fiery take or ruffling some feathers.
Together, we combine our individual expertise to dive deep into the current events and ongoings in the world of mixed martial arts, the big and the small. This is the Weekend Roundup.
Hey up, you bleeders. Welcome to episode 106 of Casual Conversations for Cannabis Connoisseurs. Sorry, Casual Conversation for Combat Connoisseurs. I was talking to Lazy just before the show started. Yes, just as the UFC returned to the new and improved Apex, so JBR has returned to talk about it. I'm your host, DangerMouse. I'll be joined in just a few moments by the aforementioned LazyBed and Austin to go over the main card and a couple of the prelims from UFC Vegas 120. Before we do that, just a quick request to like and ideally subscribe. Help us get to 250 subscribers. It costs you no, and we really appreciate it. All right then, enough of that. Let's get on with the card. A card that I had more interest in than most. My second round draft pick, Quillan Salkilld, taking on Mateusz Gamrot in the main event. This was a fight that Quillan chose himself, and lots of people were suggesting the 26-year-old might have bitten off more than he could chew, taking on a crafty veteran like Gamrot. Turned out, though, I was right to have faith in my pick, as lightweight Quillan Salkilld defeated Mateusz Gamrot via submission, rear naked choke at 4:25 of round one. Now, I awoke to a lovely Discord message from Lazy, so I guess I should hear from him first. And I'm guessing that he had a Gamrot to win, judging by that message. So, hey up, Lazy, how's things for you, mate? And what do you think of the fight? And I guess what's next for Quillan?
Well, I was going to try to think of something witty to say back, but I can't think of nothing fast enough. Yeah, I had Gamrot by decision on Tapology. I did think this was going to be too big of a step up for Quillan. It proved not to be, but I do have some questions that still linger. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Happy to be here. So let's go right into this. Let's go headlong into the main event. And I for these fights, I did a little throwback to something I used to do when I would take notes on the fights, but I didn't want to take too many notes. So I got a headline for a lot of these fights. And I also got a hot take for a few of them as well. So headline for this fight for me was, so you've won, but at what cost? Because, guys, that fucking knee bar situation that Salkilld found himself in, it was a bit more serious than I think that many people would have believed. News has since come out. Quillan may likely have suffered a knee injury of some sort of a leg injury. He says he heard a pop. I think he heard a pretty loud pop, because if you watch what happened after that knee bar, that leg was fucking cooked. It was toast. And when they got up from that exchange on the ground and from that leg entanglement situation, you could see that his leg was fucked. Like, there's a moment you could see it kind of buckle on him. And then afterwards, when the fight was finished and you see him kind of walking around the cage, you could see again, like, it's not, that thing ain't moving right. It's not moving quite the way it should. I think that under further examination, we're going to see that something might have gone wrong there. So hopefully for his sake, young guy, spry, still got a lot of youth in him. He can bounce back from it, modern medicine and whatnot, but could be a pretty serious situation with that leg injury. But again, to go back to what I was saying initially, I'm still left with some questions here. I'm still left with some moments, because I'm still not sure who Quillan Salkilld is. I'm still not quite sure that I saw what I needed to see in this fight to say he is a top 10, top 5 guy. I'm not quite sold on the kid. So while I think he was obviously a good draft pick because he's scoring you a lot of points, he's kind of found himself in some beneficial situations, and he does deserve a lot of credit for capitalizing on moments like last night and snatching up Gamrot's back and securing that RNC. But I don't know. Like, I still, for whatever reason, I still quite don't know how to feel about the kid. So that's my thoughts. That's what I got on that. So be interesting to see how he gets match made going forward, because where he's going to be at in the division amongst the rankings, things are kind of tied up. And then on the Gamrot side, it's official now more than ever. If it wasn't already, he is the gatekeeper. He is a lightweight gatekeeper. So, yeah, it was a good fight though for as long as it lasted.
Yeah, the knee injury stuff. I saw it on the Discord today. I think someone had mentioned it. Yeah, a bit worrisome. But as you said, he's young. Hopefully, he'll come back quickly if he is injured. But one thing I'll say, it looks as if we finally have a changing of the guard at lightweight. Yeah, we still have Gaethje at the top, the ultimate, guy from this generation. But there are so many 20-somethings now in the top 15. So yeah, we're seeing a turnover. I like that. And this fight, short as it was, showed us that Quillan is a real prospect and that he belongs in that top 15. He did just beat a top-class MMA wrestler at his own game. He's still only 26, so he's going to get multiple shots at a title. And I'd say right now, give him someone like BSD or Fiziev, and then someone in the top 5 before he gets a title shot. But that's just my thoughts. And okay, I guess we should hear from Austin. So how's things, mate? What do you think of the fight? And did you hate pick against my boy Quillan? And what do you think of how he handled Gamrot? What's next for that boy Gamrot?
Well, to be fair to Quillan, my whole thing was like I was on the camp as well. I picked against him mainly because I thought this may have been a step too far, not because I didn't think he was capable of beating Gamrot. We've seen Gamrot kind of struggle with decent strikers as well as competent grapplers before. I kind of just thought back to the Beneil Dariush fight for Gamrot, right? A guy who was well-rounded grappling and heavy-handed in striking, and just the ability for him to kind of just thwart anything Gamrot did. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, he kind of struggled on the feet with him really quick. And that was the only thing I kind of remembered. I was like, okay, well, I don't know if we got the right, look that I wanted to see from Quillan in that fight, right? He gets dropped by, Beneil, and then, subsequently finishes him. So I was kind of like, I don't know if I liked what I saw. I think that's the only reason why I picked against him. Like, okay, he's young. He might have a step too far, and we just saw Gamrot kind of put away a young contender as well not too long ago. So I'm thinking, okay, well, if he's got the goods, he should kind of walk through Gamrot, right? He might have a close call in some of the grappling exchanges, but we'll see. And to your point, he clips him right off the bat, and he just kind of engages in the grappling because Gamrot's like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that, He wrestles him. He goes out of his way to make sure like it's a grappling fest right off the bat. And the exchanges and transitions that they were doing on the ground, I was like having a field day just watching. I was like, just like, and then all of a sudden you see him grab Quillan's knee. And now this is before the submission attempt, right? The desperation submission attempts, about 2 of them. And he grabs that knee and pulls it inward as like he's holding onto a single leg, but on the inside of the guard. And he's holding it in, almost like at a 7 shape, just on the inside of that the side. And it's like, okay, well, I don't like how that's looking. This is not good. But Quillan kind of kept his cool. And then just, the submission attempts came after that. And you can see Quillan just like, nah, I'm good. And then he tried to do another submission attempt on the same leg. And I'm like, fuck, hey, this is not good. And then they find a way back up. And I think Quillan, I don't know if he drops him or if it was like a half, slip or whatnot. And then they end up back on the ground again. And Quillan just kind of takes over the fight from there. And it's academic. He just kept looking for submissions, fishing, coming back, looking for damage, looking for submissions, and then just ended up getting in the last 10 seconds, right? And shout out to Gamrot, he tried, but like Lazy said, he's a gatekeeper to this division, and this division has had just rock steady fucking veterans holding up the top 15 on a regular basis. Now they're finally getting that transition from the young guys finally coming in. There's about fucking 15 fucking young guys who are at any point able to take on some of the lower end of the top 15, and it's finally happening. This isn't usually the case in some divisions. Usually there's a lot of them that kind of try to come through, and it's hard to get into those rankings sometimes. And this is not that case anymore,
we need more movement at lightweight at the top end of this division. Like, you're right, Austin. Like,
that's the thing.
There's plenty of guys that could slot in here, but will they let them? Will they fight each other? Like,
no, that's what you need. You need guys to fight each other, like within close proximity, so that way you could get some movement, and then you get guys like this where it's like, I think in the media rankings they had Quillan at 9 and Gamrot at 7, right? That's close enough. They're not booked against anybody else, and one called out the other, and the other accepted. That's perfect matchmaking. Just get it going, and you could drop Gamrot a couple of steps, so you can still be in the top 15, possibly maybe at the 15th mark. But we'll see. Depending on how they shake up some of the stuff, there's a couple more matchups to make in this division. You can't really go wrong. I mean, I like the BSD idea, but we'll see.
Well, I would say that the reason I kind of asterisk that win for Salkilld is I question the integrity of Gamrot's chin at this point, because he's been dropped in his last several fights, and he got dropped in this fight off like the first left hand that Salkilld threw. So, it's a good win because Gamrot is, of course, one of the best grapplers in the division, but it's also kind of questionable for me because of the chin issue. Like, if you're fighting guys with chin issues, like it feeds right into one of your big strengths as a Quillan Salkilld, it being large and having power. Like, he's got a lot of thud on his punches. If you're fighting a dude with a questionable chin, it's just kind of like, it's just sort of basic math, but he did take advantage of it. So, like, you can't take anything away from Quillan, because there's a lot of guys that just because they had a power doesn't mean they were going to be able to land the shot that put him down. But I think that Gamrot getting dropped so quickly in the fight definitely changed the dynamic of how things played out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was just checking the rankings. The media rankings has Quillan at 12 and Mateusz at 8. So, and they were the rankings I've been using recently. Yeah, there we are. All right, next up we had at lightweight, another lightweight bout. Carlos Diego Ferreira defeating Billy Quarantillo, decision unanimous, 30-27 across all three judges' cards. This was a really strong first round from Ferreira. His striking looked really sharp, and he was able to get a takedown too. Then, despite Billy Quarantillo looking a little bit better in the second round, CDF easily took that round and the final round too. Despite being the older fighter in this one, I think he was about 2 or 3 years older. He was the faster one, and he just did everything better, and he did everything well in this fight. This was ultimately given fight of the night, and although it was quite one-sided, it was a lot of fun. There was one other fight that we might get to later that I thought had a chance for being fight of the night, but this one certainly, it wasn't a bad scrap. I don't really object to that award with it, but I don't have a lot to say on it, unfortunately. Just as a decision, 2 old guys that sooner or later we'll see them fight again, because neither of them looks like they want to retire. So, Austin, what you got to say on this one, if anything? I'm sure you will have. You always find something.
It's weird, man, because we're at 2 different spectrums. Like, you get like the top 15 in the main event, right? And now we're just at the lower end of the fucking lightweight division. Not because Carlos Diego Ferreira is bad, but he's just old. He's 42, and freaking Billy is 37 at flat lightweight, right? I am not knocking him at being 37 at lightweight, making the weight class jump, right? Imagine, I think they've said like he was like 600 and something days since his last fight, right? Which was, I think, 2 knockout losses in a row at featherweight. Him making his debut at lightweight, and but the only thing I kept thinking of, like, okay, he's just eating the strikes and he's just kind of rolling with them. He got dropped a handful of times in the first round, and there's that what in the butt moment that Carlos like gets him with. And I'm like, oh god, this is not good. But he survives. He survives, gets to the second, a little bit better, rolling with the punches still, but just eating a lot more. His defense is down. He's just not willing to give up eating punches. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing, dude? And then he gets into the third round and he finally starts landing a little bit more. But Carlos is just exhausted from fucking landing on him on a consistent basis. I think he was doubling his striking numbers in the first 2 rounds. And then the third round was a little closer, but it's still the same fucking fight, And he finally gets him down. And stays on top of him, and it's annoying because you're thinking to yourself, I'm like, Billy had fucking 2 rounds to fucking change up his game, and he never did. And the only reason why he got an advantage in the third round is because Carlos was fucking gassed, 42-year-old gassed, and he couldn't fucking put him away. And I have no issue if a fighter thinks they need to keep fighting. I no longer need to see Carlos fight. As long as he's fighting guys closer to his age on the lower end of the division, fine. He needs to pay bills, whatever. But this is a regional thing. There's a guy getting a $10,000 check because he was former UFC, and he gets a win against a guy who's he kind of was in the UFC, was a decent guy in another organization, and finally comes over here, and he needs to send an opponent. Walks away with $5,000 after that. It's this isn't what you want to watch, but it was an entertaining fight. I don't know what we're doing with Billy. I don't know what we're doing. You don't need to keep him on the roster. It is what it is.
Lazy, anything to add?
I'm laughing at Dave in the fucking chat saying, who the hell is Carlos? CDF, baby. Carlos Diego Ferreira. AKA an Unk. And that leads me into the headline for this fight. Lazy's headline: 2 Unks brawl in local Target store, charges pending. That's right. The Apex, the upgraded Apex now looks like a fucking Target. That's what it reminds me of. It looks like the inside of a Target.
Carlos Prates in the house. No smoking in the meta Apex Prates.
And we got 2 Unks that were fucking swinging them out here. The fuck are we doing, guys? What are we fucking doing? This is not a co-main event in 2026. This was a co-main event probably never. At no point in these 2 guys' careers, in their UFC tenures, should they ever have been featured in a co-main event. Even Carlos Diego Ferreira, who's a pretty good fucking fighter, but he's fucking 47 years old. What are we fucking doing here? Just because it was fun doesn't mean it was necessary. That's my take on this fight. It was enjoyable. It had its moments. It was a knock 'em down, drag 'em out brawl, a bar room brawl. But we didn't have to have that. We didn't need to see it, and there was no point in it. I bet meth is awesome too, but I don't need to smoke it. I'm sure it's really fun, but I don't need to go out and fucking pipe down some fucking meth. But like Whitney Houston said, it's not right, but it's okay. I'm gonna enjoy this fight anyway. It was an okay time, and a co-main event it was not, but it was a fight that happened, and I think that both these guys should retire.
Yeah, would agree. And another fight that definitely happened. Next at featherweight, Darren Elkins versus Yadier del Valle. Elkins' retirement fight, and we know the UFC doesn't like giving fighters easy retirement fights. It's far better to sacrifice them to some up-and-comer like Yadier del Valle. And in this one, Yadier del Valle did understand the assignment that had been given to him. And after the briefest of grappling exchanges, he just blasted Elkins out of the fight at just 35 seconds of the first round. No retirement package for Elkins, but they did at least let him have a final interview with DC. And I guess there's not much to talk about in the fight other than, that it happened. But what do you think of the UFC's treatment of Elkins here? Should he have been given the retirement package, or didn't he have time last night? And Lazy, I'll chuck it to you first.
Well, some guys do get the easy way out. Some guys do get a soft landing for their retirement.
A few.
Yeah. I'm talking to Robbie Lawlers and the fucking Michael Chiesas of the world. You get a Nico Price on your way out, but Darren the Damage Elkins has to fight a young Cuban problem, Yadier del Valle. So yeah, few guys do get the rub on the way out, and those guys get retirement packages. They get their little video packages and their send off. Elkins didn't. We can sit here and we could debate whether or not he deserved it. I don't know, but in a world where Michelle fucking Watterson Gomez gets a send off with a video vignette, I think that Darren could have got one as well. But either way, my headline for this fight: go ahead and damage me. I'm daring you. Huh? How about that? Huh?
Oh my fucking god!
Yeah, and damaged he did get. He was very damaged. But Yadier del Valle, buddy, pal, I'm looking at you. I'm talking to you. I'm staring you dead in your eyes. And I'm telling you, you are among the biggest unchecked frauds in this company. You've had 2 predetermined wins now. One that was an entire betting scandal, and we don't got to get into that, but that was a whole thing. And then this one here with Elkins, this was as predetermined a win as it gets. Shout out Super Dave for pointing it out on Discord. Elkins coaches, when you watch this fight back and the walkout, if you can even watch the walkout on Paramount, look at their faces. Look at the faces of his coaches. They're walking a man down death row. Like this is the Green Mile, and they're taking him to his death. And you could tell, Ed, they knew what it was. I'm sure Darren knew what it was, and I'm sure Yadier knew what it was. So, predetermined outcome here. The only other win of note for Del Valle in the UFC is Connor Matthews. He was absolutely fucking terrible. And then he's got an ugly loss to a twerking grappler in Jordan Levitt. So, Yadier del Valle is a fucking joke. I don't put any stock into him. Darren Elkins, please don't ever come back in any avenue of combat sport. Just go enjoy life and your family and whatever. And happy trails to you.
Yeah, for sure. Add a D to that tattoo as well at the end. All right, then. In what was definitely a women's strawweight fight of 2026.
Did Austin go on that?
Sorry, Austin. My apologies. Yep, go on. What you got to say on
I think the thing is just like
the screen like normal. I can't see him.
That's fair. No, the Lazy already said everything that needed me to say, but the thing that I would like to say is I think there should be a standard. If you've had X amount of fights inside the UFC and he's had over 25, I think 30 was his number.
I think 26.
You should get something.
Whatever, it's still a lot.
I think you should get something for that, right? That's years of your life, tons of damage that he's taken for the company, and he has still one of the biggest upsets in the UFC. If you guys remember his and Mirsad Bektik fight, right? Like that's he's
yes.
He's a guy that's been in the UFC for a long time, and you should. I wouldn't have cared if he got one. I would have been happy if he did. But he still got I think what they should do normally, if a guy is actually putting their gloves down or finally retiring, is actually giving them the ability to say goodbye on the mic. That should be a minimum. You might not need to give him a package. That's fine. But let him say goodbye because his speech was nice. He thanked everybody in his corner. He even shouted out like, "Yeah, I'm still part of a trade, union and stuff like that." Like he's thanking his wife, he's thanking his kids, he's thanking his corner and everything like that. Like that's what you should give a fighter who's been in the UFC for long enough to at least like earn a fucking retirement package, like physically, But I'm happy he's done, and like Lazy said, like Yadier del Valle, I can't say his name right now. He should not be celebrating like he just got the fucking biggest knockout in the UFC. He should be fucking thanking his lucky stripes that he got stopped as soon as it did, and that's it. Like just whatever, man. Just win your next 3 very impressively, and maybe I'll change my tune on you. But until then, you're still just a fucking fraud to me.
He's training with the guy now, actually.
Maybe you can get some inside information on his upcoming fights.
They did mention that actually, and said that he knew nothing about it. He's denied all knowledge of it, of course. But I'm inclined to believe him. There's no reason to implicate him in anything there. But anyway, enough of that. Onwards to what was definitely a women's strawweight fight of 2026. Thainara defeated Amanda Lemos, decision unanimous 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27.
Biggest winning streak in the division behind only Zhang Wei Li and Jillian Robertson, who is fighting for the...
I really have very few notes on this, just literally a couple of couple of sentences even. I'm quite happy to skip over this fight, although if people want to. But if you really want to say something about it, we can do. We can talk about the groin shot that dropped Lemos in round 1 that took her 2.5 minutes to recover from. That was clitoral abuse live on TV. And then there's round 2 where Lemos dropped Thainara, and still a judge gave the round 2 Thainara. And I guess it was the commentary that blonde hair is really a bad idea when you get cut, because she looked messy at the end of the fight, and it did look far worse than the damage it actually was. So Austin, as I almost missed you out last time, I'll pass the clitoral abuse over to you.
That was a man who I can't know. I thought this fight was fun, but to the point of exhaustion, there is a standard of which Lemos allows her opponent to just dictate how the fight plays out. She may have dropped her, I think, twice, if I'm not mistaken, but she got dropped herself. And then Alexia Thainara is an interesting character in this division because she's not a amazing fighter. She's rounded enough to like be good in the sport. She's rounded enough to be good in this division, but she doesn't. There's nothing that stands out to her other than being strong, but also being conditioned. Like, she's not tired at any point in the fight. She's actually doing a lot of stuff. She's making you feints. She's reading feints. She's throwing out strikes occasionally, but she's not doing anything that's like standing out as like extraordinary. Matter of fact, when she clinches against a cage, Lemos is just not physically strong enough to keep her off of her. It just shows she gets stuck. So it's a form of stalling that I have grown tired of at some points in women's divisions. And in men's divisions, it happens a lot as well. But in certain women's fights, there's a point where some of the girls will just clinch up against the cage, and they will just throw to the knee, throw to the body a little bit, maybe just kind of pat around. But there's a lot of clinching that doesn't lead to anything. Matter of fact, there's about maybe 4 or 5 engagements of which Thainara clinches against the cage. Lemos cannot do anything, but she's not being taken down. Thainara is willing to throw, but not land significant strikes. And I'm not sure if it's just me, but there should be points of which you encourage activity and then threaten within, like, hey, if you don't do anything in 10 seconds, I'm going to separate you, right? Because that would at least lead to additional moments, because Lemos had decent activity when it was like, on the feet at range. But again, Thainara would separate the distinct ability for Lemos to defend takedowns. Like, she's not really good at it, right? She'd get her down. She'd hold on to an overhook when Thainara was coming into the clinch and looking for a takedown. But you're kind of stuck with this fight that just kept playing over and over, where it's like, okay, you're there against the cage again. All right, there against the cage again. Oh, she dropped her. There against the cage again. Shit. Matter of fact, after that first round happened and the the meat of the labias was a thing that happened, and everything else was just kind of a rinse and repeat from Thainara. She's good, don't get me wrong, but there's not anything that sets her apart from anybody else other than just being active, and that's it. Like, she's good enough to get to the title. I don't know if she ever wins one, but she needs to find some reason to like actually start working on her striking and kicking game, because she's kind of struggling between the two. Maybe she's just not willing to just push the pace on a certain, and again, that's on the ref. But Lemos is willing to let this happen time and time again. And I picked Lemos, I think. I'm not sure, I'll be honest. But it was more annoying. But I didn't mind the fight. Camera angles should have been addressing some other angles because they were willingly going back to certain places. But, that's neither here nor there.
That production team is obviously well educated in what their audience wants. Yeah. Lazy, I know you were laughing with me, I think, today with Josh Thompson about what they were saying about splitting the lips or whatever it was he said. So anything to add on this fight? What do you want to talk about?
It was pinching the lips, actually. And
that's it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And just like that low blow, when I was younger and I was foul, my grandma would pinch my lips too. Shout out, Grandma. Shut up, guys. Get your minds out of the gutter. Austin, that was way too long of a breakdown for this fight. That was much longer of a breakdown than this fight deserves. But in a stunning turn of events and in response to Alexia Thainara's walkout last night, the city of Las Vegas has actually passed new legislation to outlaw dancing. No more dancing in Vegas after that fucking bullshit. Get the fuck out of here. You can't be doing that type of shit and then fucking fighting like that. If you're going to dance your way to the cage like that, you better fucking finish. And you did not finish. In fact, and this is my only breakdown on this fight, if Amanda Lemos wasn't as dumb as a bucket of worms, she wins that fight because she was cracking Thainara in the fucking head all night long. She was smacking that fucking hairdo back, and she could have won this fight if she would have only gone a little bit harder and gone a little bit sooner, but she didn't. And I think that's due to that bleach you were mentioning, DangerMouse. You know, much like Ric Flair, she suffers from the same thing. When you bleed with that bleach blonde hair, it surely shows up. It looks terrible. It looks like a used tampon. And I think that bleach might be seeping into her head, and that's the reason that Lemos didn't go a little bit harder and win this fight. So that's my breakdown on this fight. I would never go back and watch it again.
Good, me neither. And thankfully, I missed Thainara's entrance to the cage. I don't think they showed it when I was watching on.
Footloose. Dancing is now banned.
Oh, was it? Is that what she was dancing to?
Yeah, well, no, I was saying like the movie Footloose where they ban dancing.
Yeah.
I love how the guy who's like he needs to have more excitement and reasons to watch is like, yeah, no, you're exciting. No, I don't want to watch that. Yeah, personality all of a sudden. No,
dancing is not exciting, Austin. It's just not.
It's fun. It's fun. Who gives a shit?
Irritating. It's like, yeah, all right, have a bit of a dance on the way to the cage, but does it have to be 2 fucking minutes long? No.
It was better than the fight, to be honest.
Well, yeah, it may have been. Like I said, I didn't watch that.
That's all I want. If you're going to dance, just, dance your way to a finish.
Yeah.
Well, she almost got the finish.
No.
Wrong audience.
Enough of that. Let's go to welterweight and see a proper fight. Billy Ray Goff versus Ty Miller. This was my other draft pick, Ty Miller, involved in this one, which he won. He won on the start of the third round. We'll get onto that in just a moment. First half of the first round was actually competitive. Goff was really working hard, but he was holding his own. He was pushing Ty up against the cage, threatening takedowns at time, catching kicks, which was lucky. But towards the end of the round, Miller just started to find his range, and he really picked up on Goff's timing, started working him over. And then by the time round 2 started, Goff was looking very, very gassed. And that was when Ty just took over. He was working his jab, landing absolute quality combinations worthy of a Golden Glove champion, which of course he is. And by the end of round 2, Goff was a beaten and bloody mess, having taken at least 50 unanswered shots, I think it was. He was just covering up and running away. But Jason Herzog just decided, nah, he'll be fine, mate. Allowed him to be saved by the bell, sent him back to his corner, and then we had Goff's corner giving him advice for the final round, telling him not to engage, to stay away from him, circle the cage. Like, what the fuck were they thinking? It's not as if Goff was 3 rounds up in a 5-round fight and he could afford to dance his way into a victory. He was fucking losing. And if his corner didn't have any confidence in him winning, getting that KO, if they weren't telling him to go out there and knock Ty Miller's head off, then what the fuck did they send him out for? It's just send him out for punishment for absolutely no fucking reason. And that's the most annoying thing about it. Also, the terrible refereeing from Herzog. He should have stopped that at the end of the second round. Goff was giving nothing back for like a full minute of the fight, I don't think, just dodging around the cage. But Herzog, he was obviously in if he dies mode. And to be honest, the only person who came out of this looking good was Ty Miller and his performance, which earned him another 100k bonus and me another 35 draft points. So yes, I was very, very fucking happy with how this fight came out in the end. Could have been slightly better if the finish had come in round 2, as I predicted, as it should have done. But that's it. I'm still happy about this, even though I sound very angry at the moment. And Lazy, I'll throw this one over to you because I know you quite like Ty Miller as well.
Yes, for as much as I like Ty Miller, I dislike Jason Herzog. So I'm very happy to hear you lay into him a little bit there. This fight was, oh man, like the sheer negligence on behalf of both Billy Ray Goff's corner and referee Jason Herzog. Just unacceptable, dude. Like, unexcusable. You nailed it, Mouse. One, why the fuck did you not stop that fight before the end of that round? Why did you let it continue? And two, if you're his corner, the fuck are you doing sending your guy back out there to get obliterated? You know what's going to happen. You're so confident that it's going to happen. You're telling him to run away. What kind of advice is run away? I don't understand. I don't get it. Jason Herzog, literally the worst referee in the UFC amongst the regular rotation that their commissions use. Herzog is, in my opinion, has gone from a couple of years ago being maybe the best to now being the worst, because he has zero consistency. None. You can't, if you're a fighter or a team, you cannot determine at all how he's going to officiate a fight. It's like a completely unknown factor, because if you remember, it was like just last week that he prematurely stopped a choke, a blood choke, and called the submission early and erred on the side of caution. A blood choke that, at worst, if you let it go a little bit longer, the guy goes to sleep and you get a definitive stoppage. It's a blood choke. That's not an arm bar. It's not a leg lock. You're not seeing limbs snap if you let it go too long. You stop the blood choke too early. And then you flash forward to a week later in this fight, and he's willing to let Billy Ray Goff fucking get impaled on a fucking pyre in front of our eyes. Like, it's utter insanity. And, you know, the shame in all this, the real shame in all this is it kind of takes some of the shine off of Ty Miller, who looked fucking fantastic. He looked every bit of what he's supposed to be, and the Golden Gloves background showed. His hands were fucking on fire. He could not miss. The combinations were blistering. I mean, pinpoint accuracy. He looked like a Diaz brother out there. It was very nice to see, but just shame on every other party involved in this. Absolutely horrendous. Goff should fire his entire fucking team, and they should never be allowed to corner again, because this fight should have never seen a third round. And the only reason I could see that it did see a third round is Jason Herzog might have had some money on fight to start round 3. That's
God damn it.
Because what the fuck, dude? That fight was over.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. I'm glad you compared him, Ty Miller to Nate Diaz, I think you said. But
Either
certainly
one.
He did kind of remind me a little bit of Nick Diaz, just constantly flicking out the punches, touching you up, and then bang, all of a sudden you get him whacked with a really serious 2 from a very long way away, because he has very long arms. Austin, what do you want to say on this one? I'm sure you enjoyed the fight as much as we did, but
you guys have already made the point of like how it's like it should have been stopped at the end of the second in between rounds by his corner. There should have been no reason why he should have been out there. I'll just say this: Ty Miller looks like the goods. But the other thing I wanted to mention was that Goff has had a weird career inside of the UFC, primarily because he wins his debut, his Dana White's Contender Series in 2022. He then gets a win in 2023 in his first UFC fight, and then loses his subsequent next 3. One in 2024, one in 2025, and then this one in 2026. So he's fighting once a year, right? Which is weird. But he just I've never seen him look worse than this one. And it was just, I don't know, like, he starts really hot and he just doesn't get better from there. Like, he nearly gasses in the first. And then Ty Miller just starts like, you know, you guys said Nick Diaz. I saw a little bit of Carlos Condit. I don't know why, but it looked like Carlos Condit to me with the like just kind of hunched over, tall, lanky striker.
Yeah, that's
but
good.
He's just pitter-patting, not throwing 100%, but maybe throwing like 50, 45. You know, there's a jab at the 30%, and then they come back with an uppercut.
And he slips in a fucking 85, 90%, and catches you off guard.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Those kicks that come up from nowhere as well. He's right in the middle of a combination and whack.
He caught him with like 3 of them. And one of them he even blocked and it still landed. And if you're looking at Ty, this is what he needs to do. It's not going to be fun for, say, his opponents, of course, but this is how you build a prospect, right? He's what, now 8-0, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
Ty Miller?
Yep.
Okay. This is the type of fight he should be getting on a regular basis. A guy who's just intermittent inside the UFC, or a guy who's just not really getting a whole lot of good looks. But they're fresh bodies you could put up against him so he can show how good he is, right? Just enough of a challenge to where he can at least adapt and then put forward his offense, because he's looking good every time he goes out there. There's almost not a time I don't think I've ever been impressed with how he fights, right? And there's a point, though, where you're kind of looking at this, okay, well, how fast did the UFC fast track him? Because he put it on an opponent who had no business being in there in the third round, right? And I'll defend Herzog on this. His corner should have stopped the fight in the third, or in between the second and the third. His corner should not have let him go back out there. They asked him, "Hey, can you continue? Can you continue? Right? Because you're not looking good out there. I don't know if I want to send you out there." That should have been the first thing his coach said to him, right? And then Herzog did, I guess, the merciful thing, technically, by stopping it in the first 15 seconds of the third. But whatever, dude. Like, it shouldn't have never gotten there. But he stopped it regardless. So I guess he did.
Where was the Jason Herzog that's always move fighter, show me something? Where was that at?
I think it's more of a.
He didn't say a peep.
I know, and I'm only going to say this. I think it's his confidence is shot. His confidence is shot, and I'm going to be honest about that. Like, if he's not on his fastball anymore, he should probably take a break. I'm not going to look at him and think he's a bad person. I think he's just shitty at his job now. Sometimes it's okay to take a break from your job just so you get like a break from doing it. You get stimulated by it sometimes. That's my only thinking on it. I don't know the other half of the stuff you may know, Lazy, but I'm just looking at it from like a small lens, and I'm thinking, yeah, he probably needs to take a year off and reevaluate what he's doing.
I would agree. Some time off would definitely suit him well. And he just took time off like I guess it's been more than a few months now, almost a year ago.
I don't know if that was his decision though.
Yeah. Well, real quick before we move on, I got to slip in my headline for this fight. My headline was it was actually for DangerMouse, and it was we heard you like free fantasy draft points, so we put some free fantasy draft points in your free fantasy draft points. So, there you go.
Very much appreciated. Yeah, I think Ty Miller. I might have a few more, because Ty Miller definitely seems to be on the bounty hunting tour at the tour. I don't think he's interested.
Slow his roll.
Much. Yeah,
he's Carlos Prates. He better slow his roll.
yeah, that'd be a bad one potentially. All right, then, that is the main card done with. We're not going to talk about all of the prelims by any means. What we do have to mention this one at heavyweight: Stephen Concrete Asplund versus Gillian Pat, and we're only talking about this sloppy heavyweight fight because Dave has him on his draft team, and I have noted some drama for this fight, but I don't recall what that was, and I couldn't be asked to rewatch it again, so because just it's 15 points to Team Dave basically. Does anyone want to say anything on Asplund and Pat?
I can real quick.
You don't have to. We can just.
I would just briefly say that Asplund needs to stop relying so much on his toughness and his face to defend things, because he's absorbing way too much damage at heavyweight, and sooner or later that's going to catch up to you.
Yeah, good point.
It's not the division you want to be leading with your toughness.
No, definitely not. I think I originally had this as a decision and then switched it to a first round KO for some reason. Oh, well, whatever. Austin, I would say on that one.
No, Asplund got fortunate enough to start landing early and nearly dropping, or he dropped him, I think, several times, but he got dropped himself. And like Lazy said, he eats a little bit too much. Pat, for some reason, I'm thinking of as like a light heavyweight who's masquerading as a heavyweight. He looks like a glorified gym guy. Like, he goes up, shows up. He's a training partner, but that's it. He's not a great fighter because he literally had no confidence. And I think the fact that he had those saggy titties in his face, I think that probably didn't help.
Oh, that was the one thing to mention about this fight. Stephen Asplund displaying the classic MMA fighter IQ. You hurt a guy and you go for a submission. or you hurt a guy,
Yeah.
you drop him and you go to the ground. Oh my God, that was pissing me off.
Yeah, right in the first.
What are you doing trying to submit a guy when there's no hard, firm spot on your body? Like you're a pillow. You can't choke a guy out when you're a pillow.
Oh yeah, I've forgotten about that. That might have been the drama I was talking about. Who knows? One other fight that I want to mention, so I'm just running this as I want to at the moment. The women's strawweight, Giovanni Canuto versus Carol Foro. Banger of a scrap, which shouldn't be that much of a surprise to you if you saw her Dana White's Contender Series fight against my draft pick, Chanel Dyer, who fought earlier this year. Foro almost had the finish of this one at the end of round 1, but GG Canuto survived and then managed to control the entirety of round 2. And then the final round, Foro manages to get back up and sprawl her way out of various takedown attempts. She starts winning the striking battle, and then she's quite comfortable at that point. Then in the last minute or so, they end up on the ground. Canuto has Foro's arm stretched out in what looks like a locked-in armbar, but Foro somehow grits through it, somehow turns around, and then ends up on top, finishing the round, attempting to pound GG into unconsciousness. And this was the one I mentioned earlier that I thought had a very good chance of being fight of the night. But I guess they thought Ferreira and Quarantillo fight had a little more action, which, to be fair, it probably did, with all of this fight, second round being dominant, but not a super exciting round. But still a great opener for the card. I know everyone in the main card minute chat was really enthusiastic about it. Austin, I know you like the ladies, so I'm sure you like this fight.
Oh, 100%, dude. Like I was actually, this was like for this being the opener, it set the tone for the fight. This is how, so Lazy likes the regional MMA scene, is a fan of it. This reminded me of a regional MMA card. Right, you know what I mean? And I was having fun throughout the night watching these fights, or this morning, I should say. And this set the tone for the card. This was great. Like everyone's on their feet. The building's not full because it's not a big building and there's not a ton of people, but it was fun. They're out there like going out and just fucking trying, right? Foro is like literally just like knocking Gigi back multiple times in the first round, right? And then nearly gets like handled in the second. Gigi gets a takedown right off the bat in the first 30 seconds in the second, and just like keeps her down. Doesn't looks for submission attempts, lands a couple of strikes from the riding position on the back, and she's trying to impose her will. She does. It's a close, pretty dominant round. Now we're going in the third, and for Carl is defending takedowns left and right. Trying, gets taken down, finds her way back up, right? And she's landing on GG. She can't really like commit to like a striking exchange because if she gets overzealous, she could get taken down. She's sprawling several times, but has to keep the the grappler at bay. And to her credit, Gigi doesn't look like she knows how to strike very well. She's only 23, so that makes sense. But she had heart. She's out there trying. She didn't give up. She literally was like to the end. I didn't like at the last like bit where I think it was like the last like 20 or so, last 2 minutes. There's a lot of cage grabbing from Foro. She's hitting a back to the head a little bit too much for my liking, but she gets the win, the deserved win. And it's one of those things where you're like, hey, this is fun. It wasn't high level, but it was fun. And that's the thing where you can kind of look at this round, and the third round was the best because she gets Gigi gets the submission attempt with the arm bar, and you're like, oh fuck, everyone's cheering, oh shit, oh shit, and then you see she gets out of it and then starts like getting into the guard and starts fucking pounding away at Gigi. Foro gets out of the guard, gets out of the submission attempt, and then just starts pounding away at Gigi, and you're like, oh fuck, she's got it, oh my god, like, it was fun. That was great. I loved it. I loved everything about it. And that should have been the fight of the night, not the fucking, heavyweights who just don't know how to fucking beat the shit. All they know is how to just fucking swing and bang, but whatever. This was at least fun. Whatever.
Yeah. I know Lazy was on the other side of this one because I had Foro went to win this fight, although I did think it should get a KO. But Lazy, I was pretty sure was behind GG on this one, judging by the way I was talking to Gaff Pierre on main card minute. So what do you think of this one, Lazy? It was a nice view watching Gianna fight, I'll say that much.
I'm glad that we're all in agreement about it being the fight of the night, because I for sure thought this was my fight of the night. Billy Q and CDF was a pretty fun fight. It was okay, but this personally for me was the best fight of the night. And for it to be the very first fight of the night, that don't happen very often. And we were saying it in Main Card Minute chat. Everyone was saying it, like, fight of the night, and it's the first one. Like, this is crazy. I was going crazy. This is the most amped up I was all night. Austin, you did a good job summing it up. Just the various grappling exchanges, the sways in momentum, every time you thought one person had it going their way, it seemed to start going the other way. Very much an emotional roller coaster fight. And yeah, very much a regional fight. Two fighters who have seen time across multiple regional organizations, GG primarily in LFA, but yeah, just a really fun fight. Very enjoyable fight. I think that they should have got the 100K. I think that it would have probably gone a very long way for the two of them at this point in their careers, and with the contracts that I'm sure they're on. So that's a shame. But my headline for this fight was about Canuto, and it was from the movie Sling Blade. I ain't got no gas in it. She ain't got no gas in it. The stamina is a fucking problem. If she could spend like 6 months doing nothing but like treadmills and fucking Stairmasters, probably be a lot better off. Get that cardio up, get the endurance up, and you would see a lot more success. Because if she had a little more juice in the tank, I think she might have been able to finish a few of those submissions, maybe. Because I mean, 9 out of 10 women probably tap to that arm bar. Unfortunately, 4-0 has fucking arms that are too short to break, so she got lucky there. But it was
to your point,
good fight.
She might have. It might have been better for her cardio had she not getting whacked in the face so many times and the feet. Maybe that.
That's true.
It doesn't usually help your cardio.
The stand up is very bad.
Yeah. I was going to say something, and Austin put me off. Oh yeah, Canuto could barely keep her arms up at the end of the fight. Last minute, she was just like, they were down by her waist. The commentary team were all over it, like, pick your hands up, and she kept getting smacked in the face.
I was going nuts. Like, why are you not wrestling? What are you doing standing there?
Yeah, it was
You're a grappler.
Fantastic fight. So much drama in it as well. From, like I said, the second round, when it looked like it might all be over for 4-0, and she survives, and then the comeback at the end of the last round. Yeah, that was a really, really good fight. I'm really disappointed it didn't get the fight of the night, really, I guess. But anyway, it is Tapology time. Let's see how we did last night. And for a rare change, he's normally at the top of these polls, but MMA Autist, it came in third this week, 665 points with 10 correct. In second place, the perennial bridesmaid, it's yours truly, DangerMouse JBR. I came in, I had 670 points, and I've managed to pick 11 out of 12 correct. So I was pretty happy
Start
with.
calling you Armin Sarukian. Huh?
Yeah, it's like no way. But back at the top of the tree, he hasn't been there for a while, but it's the Hawaiian Tsunami Daz Riccio, 705 points, 11 correct, 1 decision, 2 perfect, and 2 semi-perfects. Well done, Daz. Good to see you back up the top there, even though you're not second place in the league anymore. That's all I've got to say. Dave can put those up as well. We do have the scores somewhere. And I guess it's time for us to rate that card. And I'm actually going to go first. I'll put myself out to dry it, possibly. I gave last week's card a lot of a very high score, simply because of the number of finishes it had. And this one, again, we had a lot of finishes. I think it was 8 out of 12. So not quite the same percentage as last week, but still a large number. And some pretty fun ones, I think. So I'm going to be quite generous, but it was an Apex card. Other than the main event, there wasn't really much on it to mean anything. So, but I'm going to be generous. I'm going to give it an 8.88, all the 8s for the 8 finishes.
That is generous.
We'll see. Well, I'm guessing you're both telling me it's generous as any way it will be. But Austin, you can prove how generous I've been.
I was trending towards a 7 for me. But I'm going to give it a 6.5, mainly because of the last two fights. Only because on paper, this wasn't supposed to be a good fight. It actually exceeded my expectations. I was thinking it's probably going to end up as a 5, right? But I had fun. The only reason why it's not a 7 is because the main event was short. It was fun, but it was short. I would have liked to seen a little bit more. I would have liked to seen Quillan in the 2nd, 3rd, possibly 4th and 5th. But he went out there and did what he was supposed to do. And on top of it too, we had like 2 old guy fights that I just didn't really enjoy for what they were. Regardless if Diego Ferreira and Billy Quarantillo were entertaining for the most part, I just didn't need to see it. It didn't need to be there, whatever. But, 6.5, not bad, especially for an Apex card. You know what I mean? It's a little harsher, I know, but still, it was a fun card. I just, like you said it best. Bouts of consequence. You know what I mean? Only one. Yeah, well, really.
There were bouts of consequence on it for me because I've picked up 70 draft points, so I now have a 70 point lead on Lazy in the draft. So yeah, that's probably why I enjoyed it as much as anything else. Lazy, you're not going to be as generous as me. I know you're not, and you're probably not going to be as generous as Austin either. So what are you going to score it, mate?
Well, I'm glad you brought up your boosting ahead of me in the draft score because that's going to factor in to my rating for this card. Talked a lot of shit about it during the week building up to it. Did not like this card on paper at all. Definitely felt like, I think I said it last night, there was maybe 3 bouts that mattered on this card or that would be fun at all. The first bout with Canuto and Ferreira, which of course was very, very fun. The main event obviously had stakes. And then the other bout, which we didn't mention, was Manuel Sosa versus Richie Miranda. El Machete, who finally made his long-awaited debut after being a multiple-time defending LFA champion. That fight was very fun. We didn't get to talk about it. Unfortunately, Richie did not have a good night in there. But nevertheless, point being, with the amount of finishes and a couple of fun fights, it ended up being more fun than I thought it was going to be headed in. Now, just because a card is better after the fact doesn't mean it has to get rated that way. You get rated for what you were coming in. Now, you factor in DangerMouse jumping ahead of me to the number 1 spot. Pretty well ahead of me, I might add, in the number 1 spot. I got some catch up to do. Yeah, I'm going to give this card a 6. I'll give it a 6.
Okay. That's not too bad. It could have been much worse.
That's actually more generous than I was expecting.
It was fun. It was, and the new improved Target / Apex I like.
Oh, yeah. I was going to bring that up. What do you think of the Apex in its new format?
It looks like a regional show, like how Strikeforce used to have. There's challenger cards.
I don't remember those.
I like the big neon lights on the walls, and it's obviously good to have more seating. They can now fit 1,100 to 1,200 people in there, so yeah. It's better than what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get a bit of crowd noise at the very least, and when you get looking out from the cage as well, you can see the audience out, so it actually looks like you're in a big stadium, even if you're not. Yeah. Okay then. Any other business? I think Lazy's got something he wants to throw at me, which I'm not looking forward to.
Yeah, I did want to get your take on Dakota coming out and releasing her vlog and saying that she, during the fight with Denise Kielholtz, refractured both of her hands.
Yeah, that's not good. I hadn't actually seen anything about that until today. I don't think I caught up. I hadn't watched that vlog. But yeah, not very good at all. If you have fragile hands, that's a very bad thing in a sport where you punch your hands against something solid like someone else's head. So yeah, this could really not just damage, could end her career effectively. I did wonder when we saw her talking about with the MVP lot about boxing, whether she might be considering boxing because her hands would be wrapped up in heavier gloves. But I'm not sure how much that saves it because boxers still break their hands anyway. Yeah, not good for me. Not happy about that at all. Just wish my girl well, get better. I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take for them to fix.
From what I read, I guess she said that the fractures occurred in the same spots where her hands had just healed.
Yeah.
But she says she'll be back on a quicker timeline than she was the last time. I don't know how that could
Well,
be.
yeah,
Like
you're not breaking, you're fracturing, so you just gotta give your hands time to reheal and make sure the
but in the
calcification
same
takes place.
spot? Like, oh god. Like,
It leans to the question. Maybe she needs to go up a weight class. Maybe I'm not saying because she's fighting shorter women on a regular basis that she doesn't like have to punch down and she's constantly punching at their forehead and landing atop the head. Maybe that's an issue. Maybe it's also the fact that she's tall and lanky for the weight class to begin with, and instead of using a consistent amount of her Muay Thai with elbows, knees, and just kicks, maybe she used to just do that. I don't know, because what she's doing now is not currently working for her. Plus, she takes a lot of time off anyways, as is. So maybe this is the reason why she
used to fight 3 to 4 times a year.
That's what I mean. The more injuries lead to more layoffs. You know.
Yeah.
And that news of the hands refracturing in the fight does explain a lot of how that fight played out in her, as we discussed last week, her kind of lack of vigor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she didn't really call anybody out. She still that everyone says Liz Carmouche, right? And she probably wants that 135. Why not just do that? It's not like you're gonna I don't know. Like again, she's gonna be out for now.
It's Liz Carmouche who wants it at 135. Dakota has no interest in going to 135. At least
she
not
might
at the
need
moment.
to at this point.
Well, I don't think going up a weight class is going to stop you breaking your hands anymore. It's not like your hands get covered in fat.
But at the same time, it's not going to help her to just stay at 125 if she's fighting nothing but short people and constantly breaking her hands on them.
Maybe
but most women are going to be short compared to Dakota.
No, I know, but still, she might actually. They just need to give her a tall, lanky striker at this point and see if she actually does the same thing.
Yeah. I'm on fear of.
Maybe
that's what we need.
They could do that thing that Merab had done, where he had an issue breaking his hand, so they took a piece of his hip bone, and they implanted it into his hand, where he kept breaking it to like strengthen the bone.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
Hey, yeah, apparently.
Yeah, apparently so.
Sounds gruesome, but it could help.
Well, I mean,
if it works,
feels like unnecessary to take your own bone out from a working hip. But
give me a loose. You got some loose bones around.
Yeah, he's got some fucking floating bones in his fucking hip. Just like, yeah, no, you can take that. That's fine. I'm good. I will be fine regardless.
I'm at the doctor's. Like the doctor, you got some spare bones, right, guys? Just let me get some extra bone. Let me get a little extra bone in there. Let's get the fuck out of here. What are we doing?
I'm not too sure. Chilling this show out until make it roughly an hour long. I think we're just about done it there. Just one thing, Austin. What do you call a Hispanic flying a plane?
I don't know if I like where this is going, but tell me.
A pilot, you fucking racist.
You fucking dick.
Oh boy.
You set me up. That
was good. All right, then that's it for this card. But it's onwards and upwards next week with UFC 330 Islam Makhachev versus Ian Machado Gary for the welterweight strap. Until then, they've been Austin and Lazy. I've been DangerMouse, and I've stopped writing endings, so I'm off for a drink. See you bleeders.
Till next time.
Yeah.
You guys rule. You're the best. We love the bleeders. The bleeders are the best.
Holy fuck.
Sorry, Austin. I've been saying that joke for about 3 weeks.
Holy fuck.
We don't even know if Dave's here to shut it off.
Kunita and Fora. That's about what Chatri's barking at me now.
You still worked up from Austin. That's not your fault.
That's fair. I understand that. Austin's not a good one.
Why would I do?
I don't know.
He doesn't do that. He actually got accused of inappropriate touching the other.
They all get accused because they're all. I'm telling you, man. These
no. It wasn't. No, what the ladies like.
These fucking guys.
I'm saying no. What do you mean? I didn't.
It's like, of course you did, Austin.
Ready?
That's
Here's a reference. Here's a reference only Dave will probably get. You know what Austin needs? Austin needs a teeter hang up.
the motherfucking power of inversion. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the little table you get strapped to, and you fucking
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Lazy. Fuck you.
Austin, can you point on the dial where they
sexual harassment panda.
I'm just a sad panda.
Oh my god. We gotta go, otherwise we're gonna be doing this all day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but I didn't want to push it today.
Those are the famous last words.
Loud. Meat Rocket was saying, I hope Ian Garron loses.
Well,